What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Unclipped podcast. I'm Casey Kasliner, joined alongside R. Grover, as we're going to talk some Clippers basketball for the first time in a little while today. They got a big win over the Atlanta Hawks tonight after a pretty bad November month. But, R, how you doing today?
Doing good. Good to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I alluded to, it was a big win tonight after, of course, the Clippers had a really tough November. They went 2-13. I mean, it took them a while to get that first win in November, but they've started December off strong, even though there's been some drama with Chris Paul and the coaching. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit. But what are your initial thoughts on the game?
Looked good. I think they put together a comprehensive 48 minutes. There weren't any lapses that I noticed, any significant lapses, and I think that um, we look like a good basketball team out there, and I haven't said that in a really long time. So hopefully we've turned the page, turned the corner, starting something new, starting something fresh.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say out of the 6 Clippers wins, I think this is the strongest one. Obviously, the Hawks aren't the strongest of competition, but they've had a pretty solid year, all things considered, without Trae Young for most of it. That Nickeil Alexander-Walker's had a great year. USC alum Onyeka Okongwu has had a really good year. Of course, Zachary Reese-Sachet is a very good player too. And just judging,
Great defender.
yeah. Oh, I can't forget about him too. His brother went to USC. Just judging what the Hawks were able to do at Intuit when they played the Clippers with Vit Krejci scoring nearly 30 points off the bench, for the Clippers to get a little revenge in Atlanta is huge, especially coming off the drama that circulated last night. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But one statistic that stuck out to me about the Clippers tonight was, or there were two actually. One, they scored 39 points in the third quarter, and only allowed 32.
Season high.
Yeah, and they've been the worst third quarter team in the NBA, so that's huge. And the second stat was they only turned the ball over 12 times. A team that turns the ball over quite a bit. They were pretty good there. They only allowed the Hawks to shoot 33% from beyond the arc. The Clippers have been a bad defending 3 team. So a lot of positives. I think it's easily their best win.
I'd agree with you. I think Harden also looked a bit better out there. I'd say during our losing streak or multiple losing streaks, I feel like I didn't see the effort from him that I was seeing from Kawhi or Zoo or Dunn. And I think Harden put a little bit more on the gas pedal.
Yeah.
It just seemed like, I don't know, he looked quicker. Okay.
7 of 21 for Kawhi, 1 of 7 from 3. Harden was 5 of 14 from 3, which carried the Clippers. And they extended the bench a little bit too because of the injuries. Brook Lopez didn't play tonight. Obviously, all the other guys like Jordan Miller that are out. But how about Kobe Sanders off the bench with 17?
Really impressive. Not team high, sorry. I don't know. Let me see. No, but still, looked great. Plus 18 in 27 minutes. 2 for 3 from 3, 5 for 5 from free throw line. Just solid. I think initially I thought Cam Christie would be a staple in the rotation. I talked about that during the last podcast. I said I'd love to see him get some consistent NBA minutes, and all of a sudden he was replaced by Kobe Sanders, and great decision. I'm not going to question that. I think I mentioned earlier Ty Lue has made some questionable decisions, but this is great. He's playing well. Kobe Sanders, he's been consistent-ish, and let's just keep giving him minutes and see where it goes.
Yeah, and I think, with the young guys, I think we might have talked about this last time, but I think with the young guys, it's fair to say that they're constantly auditioning. Cam Christie might not be gaining a ton of time and recognition right now, but the moment that if and when Kobe Sanders struggles, you could expect him to be the next man up. But I think it's fair to say that Kobe Sanders is one of the most underrated NBA rookies this year. He's been really good this season for the Clippers, and he's a guy that surprised me. I watched him quite a bit at Nevada, but I thought Yannick Konan-Niederhauser was going to be the main rookie on this team because of his length and size and the fact that he could learn behind Zoo and some others. But he only got 3 minutes tonight. But honestly, the Clippers starting lineup being what it is right now, very solid. Of course, you'd like to have Derrick Jones Jr. back, but I think all things considered, the depth has gained a lot from those young guys stepping up. But the starting lineup is solid, especially if James Harden can get the sort of minutes and eat like tension taken off of his shoulders.
For sure. I also think you made a good point about Yannick Konan-Niederhauser. I think I also expected him to be playing the most minutes now, especially with Brook Lopez out of the rotation. But it seems like we haven't needed a backup big, and I don't want to have to take back my words later if that comes to affect us later down the line. But so far, just Zoo in the rotation, and then Batum, Kobe Brown playing some backup big minutes and just kind of seeing how it goes. Kobe Sanders has been great though, and yeah, I think for young guys, you said they're always auditioning. I think that he's making a good case right now.
Yeah, I mean, another name that goes out there, and I've honestly heard his name a lot in trade talks, is Kobe Brown.
Mhm.
But, I think he's an interesting player because I think he's like a really good hustler on the team. I think he's always fighting for loose balls. He he's a guy that can give you the hard effort and grit. But I don't know if he fits because he's a guy who's very ball dominant. He's a guy that likes having the basketball, likes making plays
Mhm.
himself. I just don't know if his fit is working right now. I feel like the thing with Kobe Sanders that makes him so valuable is he's a plug and play guy. He can sit on the wing, he can make a three, he can drive inside, he can do a lot of different things. I don't really see that as much with Kobe Brown.
Plays good defense. Kobe
Yeah.
Sanders is solid on defense. I saw him strip the ball away, make a couple deflections, got a steal or two. He's looked good on that end. With Kobe Brown, I feel like he has a Draymond Green archetype, kind of
Yeah.
like, or I could see that happening. But Clippers have Clippers have bad development. I think we've just struggled with that throughout the years, and I don't know if Kobe Brown can make that leap now into his third, fourth year in the NBA. Um, yeah, it's an interesting pick. It's an interesting pick too. If he just keeps playing, because like, how much more are you gonna play him and expect that jump to happen?
Yeah. No, I agree. And I
I
mean,
don't know when it could happen or where.
yeah, and I think the auditioning is certainly happening, but at the same time, I don't think it's being forced. I don't think
Mhm.
a young guy is going to take a big role out of nowhere.
He's not that young either. He's like
Yeah.
24,
Yeah.
25.
I mean, compared to the start, like Harden and Kawhi, he is, but not in the context of the team. Really, it's
Mhm.
an old team in general, but it snaps the 5-game losing streak. And it's a win that can set a team in the right direction because Clippers have wins this year. Obviously, they have 6 now, but this is a win in a blowout fashion. 23-point win over the Atlanta Hawks on the road. They're going to have 3 more on the road against Memphis, Minnesota, and Houston before coming back home right before the holidays to play the Grizzlies and then go back on the road to play OKC again. So it's a really gauntlet filled schedule. It's tough right now for the Clippers
Yep.
just to catch a break. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But what's your sort of take on the upcoming schedule? Just looking ahead.
I think that we screwed ourselves over. We had a relatively easy start to the season, and we did not take advantage of that at all. I said in the first podcast, I said just capitalize, get the wins you can get, and then kind of play gritty in the ones that you need to, and try and scrape out a few wins here and there. We did not do that at all, and it was really disappointing. Um, it's a tough schedule. Minnesota, Houston, OKC, Lakers again, Houston. Like I
Detroit.
I don't know what
coming
to
up.
tell you other than we need to bring the mindset that we brought tonight and play all 48 minutes. And that's it. With given the injuries we have right now, given the rotation changing on a nightly basis, every guy out there needs to give it their all and really show that they want to win because we haven't done that. And so if you don't do that, we're not going to win. I'm saying like really basic things right now, but it it's just it's looked really bad. And today was promising. So whatever the mindset change was from Miami to tonight, hopefully it sticks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on a deeper level, the West is a really hard division conference. I mean, the East is just so much worse than the West every year, it feels like. But the Clippers are still only 3 wins out of a play-in spot. They're, third to last in the West, and the bottom is pretty bad. But even though they're 10 games under 500, they're 6-16. We're about a quarter of the way through the new season. The season's not gone yet. I mean, there's a lot to play for if you're the Clippers and you don't control your first round pick. So there's literally no point in tanking. But what do you think is sort of the identity of the team right now going forward? I mean, the trade deadline will make its way at some point. There's been rumors about certain guys on the teams, but they're not credible yet. But my point is, I mean, I haven't seen good basketball from Portland lately. I don't have a lot of faith in the Grizzlies, especially if they end up trading John Morant. You look at the teams ahead. I mean, I don't think the Mavericks are sustainable this year. I don't think the Jazz are. I don't really think Phoenix is. There's a lot of. I mean, I think Phoenix has been playing pretty good this season, but they're in a play-in spot right now. The top 6 in the West feel really good, but I think even the Warriors, they can't get healthy. The Clippers can easily make the playoffs. I don't think that's out of the question. I think the play-in will be tough, but I think there's so much to play for, and I think a lot of people are treating this season as it's already over. When yes, it's a really hard spot to be in, and they're probably in one of the worst spots out of any team in the West, just from not having their draft pick, the fatigue on these older players. But it's the NBA. Like so much can change in the next 60 games.
You're right. You're right. It's relatively early in the season. I mean, we're only a quarter of the way through. Um, there was a culture shift tonight, and I I don't know what sparked it, but everyone was hustling. Everyone was playing hard. I think that we just have to continue to take it one game at a time, and not look back, but just look ahead and see what things worked, what things didn't work, and take it from there. I think looking inside to Zoo is the number one thing we should be doing every game, and I said that from the beginning. He's our most consistent player this season. He can give you 16 and 10, 16 and 11 every single game, and starting the game by looking at him is our most useful tool because he's so consistent inside. And so I think that like if we can continue to play off of him and play through him, and he had a great game tonight. Just continue to play off of him and play through him can open up looks for everyone.
Yeah, and I mean he can play a lot of minutes too. He's a high volume guy. He can play nearly 40 minutes a night if he has to. He's efficient. I think the one thing that he needs to do a little better is getting involved. The Clippers can get him involved too, but I think there's some nights where he only puts up 5 shots. I think if he can put up 15 shots and he's shooting a 60% clip this year, which is one of the most efficient in the NBA among qualified players. Again, he's the 4th highest rebounder in the NBA. Like there's just so much potential there. I do see him as an attractive trade piece. I don't think they should necessarily trade him because he's not that old. He's only 28, which is not young, but for a center that
Sure.
has a lot of time, to still grow his game, I think he's a perfect piece to build a team around.
Okay.
But with that being said, there have been trade rumors, and I've heard, I don't necessarily believe everything I read, but I've heard the Clippers would want a minimum of 2 first-round picks. What's your initial reaction just reading those types of headlines?
I would agree with that. 2 first-round picks. I think the first thing I'll say though, we don't have a viable center at this
Yeah.
at this
You don't have Brooke Lopez.
we don't have Brook Lopez. I mean, he's washed. And then Yannick Coden Niederhauser he's not there yet.
He's a rookie.
Just not
Yeah.
there. So and Zoo has definitely contributed to a lot of our wins. So sure, we trade him, get 1 or 2 picks, but like at this point, there's no use in tanking because we don't even control our first round pick. We don't have much cap space until the 26-27 offseason. And he's a homegrown Clipper. It would hurt to see him go as a fan because he's been there and he's been consistent for the last 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah. I mean, really his entire career ever since he got traded.
Career, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's a really great player to build a team around, like I said, because, in a year like this, it's so confusing if you're the Clippers, right? You don't have the solid start that you would like, that you would really need to jumpstart in the West, and you don't have your first round pick. Like that really screws up everything because you can't commit to tanking. There's no point. I mean, you're just giving OKC another chance at a dynasty level piece to add. So it's a really hard spot to be in, but I think it's a spot where you can kind of turn the page a little bit and focus on what you can control, and that's this year. I mean, there's just so much basketball to be played. I know they're 10 games under 500, but I think I'm pretty optimistic that if they can just string together these games where they don't fall apart in the second half. I mean, they've had so many games, even during this recent losing streak, where they've led for most of it, and then you get to the second half, and just the adjustments aren't being made at halftime.
The first half of the Lakers game actually looked pretty good.
Really solid.
Kobe Brown looked solid. Everyone was hitting shots. John Collins was getting into it. Chris Dunn was getting into it. And then in the second half, it just felt like we couldn't control Luka. LeBron was getting really late questionable whistles. I don't know if you saw that, but those were I mean, usually the refs are pretty fair, but I mean every team thinks refs are unfair towards them, but I think that was egregious. It was inexcusable. It was so bad. And I think we just gave up too early and kind of just let them take the lead and win. It didn't feel like we had the same energy we did in the first half of the Lakers game. Same thing for the Heat game, except they didn't pop off in the second half. They popped off with 6 minutes remaining in the second quarter.
Yeah.
They went on that 30-2 run. Unacceptable. Lack of effort from everyone. I think there was just it didn't seem like anyone wanted to win except for Kawhi.
And on that note, James Harden pretty much got benched in that game. He only played 20 minutes. He shot 2 of 6 from the field.
Mhm.
What were your thoughts? I mean, he made 6 free throws, but what were your thoughts on just only seeing 20 minutes? And I know he's a guy that's played 40 minutes a night almost, but what was your reaction when Ty Lue benched him?
I feel like Harden gave up that game.
Yeah.
You saw it start of the third quarter, or I don't know, maybe end of second quarter. Harden jacked up a 3 on the next play, complained to the ref. Chris Paul shot a contested midi, miss, led to Miami 6-0 run, timeout. Like, just bad basketball. He loves to sit up at the top of the key, just dribble it out till there's 5 seconds left, and then step back 3 or drive and pass to someone who has to make a quick decision in like 2 or 3 seconds. It's a bad brand of basketball. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, trade him and trade Kawhi. At this point, like, if you're going to reset, keep Zoo and reset. And if you really want a hard reset and also give Zoo a good chance at winning a ring because we want to do him right, then ship him off too.
Yeah, I mean, you need draft capital.
It's after what happened last night with Chris Paul, I've lost a little bit of faith in this team. I'm never not going to be a fan of this team, but I'm really disappointed in their actions.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think you don't have a first round pick this year, but this is your only time you can trade. I won't say the only time ever, but it's one of the few opportunities you have to trade Kawhi, to trade Harden if you want to, because those guys are not going to get any younger and they're not going to get any healthier.
No.
Especially when Harden is burning out. I mean, I doubt he's happy having to play that many minutes. Maybe his stats look better, but even when he's playing sometimes, 37 minutes, 40 minutes, he's not having the best stats. I know he did put up 55 against Charlotte in a win, but for him to put up 55 against Charlotte and
to have to win is crazy.
To have to win that game, and they did win by 15, but that was kind of crazy. Just I mean the lack of kind of awareness around these guys that falls on Ty Lue at the end of the day. But I want to talk about the Chris Paul drama because we've alluded to it, and it's kind of the biggest headline right now with the Clippers. For those who don't know, basically Chris Paul was quote unquote sent home from the Clippers, quarter of the way through the season, was brought in to kind of be a mentor. Obviously not play a ton of minutes, but he's played a bit this year here and there. Is not really stood out on the stat sheet because, he's old and just doesn't really have the same juice in him anymore, I guess. But he's not on the Clippers anymore. They've just parted ways, which is really weird. You just don't really see that a whole lot when guys just are no longer with the team.
I mean, he's still on the team, on the payroll, on the roster, but he's just been sent home. If you follow the Clippers for a while, he got the PJ Tucker treatment.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what happened with him. Just PJ Tucker was a toxic vet, sat at the end of the bench and just pouted because he didn't get playing time. So he got sent home. Chris Paul, he's like the franchise GOAT, if not top 2 all-time Clipper.
Yeah.
This was his retirement tour. This was his opportunity to say thank you to the fans, thank you to the NBA, and for us to say thank you to him for giving us so many wonderful years of basketball. What could he have done to deserve this?
I mean, we heard about the sort of non-speaking terms he had with Ty Lue.
Yeah.
But I think it had to be worse than that.
It had to
Not
be
to speculate, but
I mean, yeah.
I think Chris Paul is known as a guy who's hard to work with. I don't think that's up for questioning. I mean, he's a guy who he's a big personality, but he's also just, in his career, he's a guy that's been ball dominant. He's not a guy that necessarily is known to be the most high character guy on any given team, but he was brought in to be a vet. They brought him back, and you can tell he loves being in LA.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to find out more in the next couple weeks, and I think it can be very telling about Ty Lue as a coach. I don't know what that will mean necessarily in terms of what his actions were, but I see it as, has Ty Lue lost the locker room at this point?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think with Chris Paul, though, he was brought in to be that vet, but I think people expected him to play more of a Patty Mills role where he's just a vibes guy.
Yeah.
And there to kind of be like, oh, cool, we're winning, or oh no, we lost, we got the next one. But I think he's been way more vocal in the locker room. I mean, we've read reports that he was making negative comments about staff, players, and the losing streak. And I think players were frustrated with that, coaches were frustrated with that, and they decided the best decision was just to send him home because he wasn't contributing on the court. I mean, it's one thing if you're playing well and the rest of the team is playing poorly and you're making negative comments about them to somewhat encourage them to play better, but he hasn't been playing well.
Yeah.
And I don't think negative comments are what we need right now. If that's the case, which it seems like it was.
My only pushback is because I mean, I I I don't know if he was tearing guys down. I read it more
Who
like
knows? Who knows?
yeah, I read it sort of like he was holding guys accountable, which can
Okay.
be taken as you know very very harsh criticism for some people because
Yeah,
the NBA is just it's an ego league
it is.
full of huge egos, and Chris Paul has an ego, and for his age, he's seen everything, except for rings. But but at the end of the day, like it felt like, and it feels still like the Clippers are refusing to hold people accountable. There hasn't been significant change when you start out 6-16 through 22 games. I mean, there has to be. It feels like Lawrence Frank is kind of happy-go-lucky with the whole situation. Doesn't feel like he's willing to. And I'm not saying fire Ty Lue, but I think there has to be a real evaluation of this team, especially with how many injuries there are and the inaction right now by the team. It feels like they're kind of waiting. They're kind of just sitting idle. Like you can wait till the trade deadline to make a move because that's when teams get desperate. But if I were the Clippers, I'd be on the phones right now figuring out, hey, are we gonna try to save the season? We're 10 games under 500, but 3 out of a play-in spot. And it feels like the front office isn't doing that. Don't really see a lot of changes from Ty Lue. I mean, to his credit, he hasn't been able to make changes because he doesn't have depth because guys are hurt, like Jordan Miller and DJJ and, going on. But I just think it's kind of crazy that they're waiting this long to do anything when they don't have a player to tank for because, they don't have their pick. So what's
Yeah.
your thoughts on that, I guess?
I think you're totally right with the holding guys accountable. I just don't know if Chris Paul is the right guy to do that. I
Fair.
think they do needed to be they sorry. They had to be held accountable. That there were so many inexcusable moments over our losing streaks that I just can't begin to talk about because they're endless. But I don't think Chris Paul is the right guy to be doing that.
Which probably means that, like, Kawhi's not a vocal guy.
Kawhi's not a vocal guy.
And Harden is kind of,
Which means I think Harden gave up on the team at some point.
which might mean that Ty Lue lost the locker room.
Exactly.
So it's kind of a chain reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you think, I never really thought about that. There isn't really a guy right now
No.
who is capable of being
And there hasn't
vocal.
been.
Yeah.
PG was there, but he was always hurt and also saying the wrong things.
Yeah.
So I think Norm did a good job of that last
Yeah.
year when he started playing really well. I mean, we're not inside the locker room, but it seems like he could tell guys what to do, where to be, at least the younger guys, their spots, that kind of thing. Um, Kawhi's not that guy. He's just not going to be that guy. And then Harden, it seems like he gave up. I don't know. Tonight he looked good, but who knows? If we start losing some more, he might put that fat suit on,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't blame him.
I mean, I wouldn't either. I think my take on the whole thing is in the NBA, because it's such a like superstar centric league, and it's a team it's a league that is based on chemistry when you need to win, but also I don't know if you necessarily have to have I don't think the team with the strongest chemistry necessarily wins the championship every year. With that being said, though, when your team is in a crisis, when you're 10 games under 500, when you went 2-13 in November, when you've pretty much kind of given up, it's felt like it sometimes in the year, when you're constantly making the same mistakes, that's when you need a leader. And if it's not a player, it has to be a coach. And I don't know if Ty Lue is the type of coach that tends to hold guys accountable. He's always been a coach that has kind of been given good situations. He's had LeBron for most of his career as a coach. As the Clippers coach, I mean, they've had the talent to not really need a leader, I feel like, in that way. I mean, you brought up Norm. They've been a playoff team consistently. They last year were exceptional. This year's different. And we haven't really seen Ty Lue face the adversity he's facing now until now. And I wonder how that reflects him as a coach in terms of being a leader himself. And that also reflects on the front office. I will stand on the point that I think Lawrence Frank, I've been to multiple of his press conferences. He's very optimistic about everything. Oh, nothing's going wrong. It's just not the case. I don't buy into that. I know they want to make it seem like the culture's good. And I think, I mean, we can go even deeper here. Like, I think, what's his effect on this? He's kind of engineered the Clippers culture with the new arena and the new identity and the new
Yep.
everything, but it's not translating to a sustainable team at all.
No, and I don't know where he's putting his faith either. Is he putting his faith in the players, or is he putting his faith in the front office and Ty Lue? Maybe both, but I think he knows a lot about basketball, but he's not able to put it into words, and he hasn't been able to figure out exactly what he wants to do. And it's kind of been really obvious the last few years. We've had great offseason acquisitions, but they always tend to not work out for some reason or the other. And I don't know whose fault it is, but we need to figure that out.
Yeah.
At the same time, you were talking about Ty Lue and his leadership style. I think he held LeBron accountable. There are a couple articles that came out about him being vocal in that regard. But if Ty Lue's fired, I'd love to see Jeff Van Gundy step up.
Yeah.
Because we see him on the sideline.
T-shirts.
Every single game, he's on the sideline yelling, telling players what to be doing, holding them accountable on defense. I think he'd be a great coach.
Yeah, and I think Ty Lue has held LeBron accountable, but I think it's also easy to coach a team that has LeBron.
Sure.
I mean, undeniable. He's, it's just a different style, but the Clippers don't have an alpha player like that who's going to step up.
Yeah.
I also agree. I think Jeff Van Gundy would be a great guy to step up. I mean, he's a coach that emphasizes the dirty work too, and the Clippers need that right now.
Yep.
They need to win those loose balls. They need to get back on defense, which that's been one of their worst things this year.
We need to bring back our scrappy mentality we had a few seasons ago. It just seems like we've gone away from that as we've gotten more stars and the big threes and the big fours with Harden, Russ, PG, and Kawhi. And we've gone away from that scrappy mentality, but it's the teams that scrap and have those stars that win championships.
No, 100%. And I think too, like, I look at other coaches around the league and their styles, and I just feel like Ty Lue is repeating what's not working. I just don't understand why. And maybe tonight, to his credit, they were really good tonight, and maybe that changes stuff. But I just don't understand what is not being said at halftime to adjust the second half. The third quarter has been, their Achilles heel all year. But to his credit, I think tonight could be, to your point, a culture-setting win. I think, you beat a team that is pretty solid. The Hawks are fun. The Hawks are a really fun team, even without Trae Young. I think they're a really fun team, and I've really liked watching the Hawks. So for the Clippers to get a win over a team like that on the road, it's not easy.
No.
With that being said, though, the schedule is tough going up the way and toward the holidays as well. It's going to get really busy for the Clippers, and not a ton of home games because they front-loaded those. But, I mean, yeah, you got to figure out the depth, though. I think, like, give guys minutes who are going to step up and not just score, but, like, put in the work. I want to see more of Kobe Sanders, obviously, but I think there's other guys on the team as well that could really, gain services from playing more. I want to see more of Cam Christie. I want to see him work out the kinks a little bit.
That'd be cool.
What if two guys we didn't really talk about. Jamil Telford didn't start the year playing.
He just got waived.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like an hour ago.
Okay, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he got waived for some 6-foot guard.
Okay, up to the minute analysis. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to see who we picked up, but some G League kid. So.
Yeah, might not even play. But what is your thoughts on Batum's role? He is another guy that we haven't talked about.
I love Nico Batum. Honestly, like the emotions that go into talking about Nico kind of sometimes play more into effect than my actual analysis of him on the court. But we shouldn't ramp up his minutes right now. Whatever he's at, I trust the coaching staff, and they'll increase at March, April playoffs. He's such a consistent playoff performer. Very impressive defensively, very consistent three-point shooter when we need him. Last year's playoffs were weird. I think that was his first off year. But it was an off year for everyone. I feel like last year's playoffs were, I don't know, just disappointing. But yeah, I love Nico. I think he's a great backup big. He can start when needed. Consistent. I let no complaints there. Like really nothing. I was so excited when we brought him back. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, and looking at the injuries, Jordan Miller could come back soon.
Yeah.
He was questionable against the Hawks tonight.
He's okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think he's necessarily a player that's going to change the season, but I also think when you add him in, you allow the depth to completely get. He was really good defensively.
He gets stuck sometimes. I don't know where I heard it. On some Clippers live or something, but he plays off of 1 foot, which I think a lot of people have been taught to play off of 2 feet. He plays off of 1 foot and he sometimes gets stuck there, but overall he's fine. Like he can play 5 to 10 minutes if needed.
Yeah, and I think that will be needed probably. And then also, I mean, Bogdanovic could come back soon. Not that like he's gonna do much, but just sort of looking at the injuries. Yeah. I mean, also Derek Jones Jr. could come back in a few weeks.
I'd love to see DJ back. He's so useful.
Yeah, and
he's such a hardworking player. He gives it 110% on the court, and his 3-point shot looked pretty good to start the year. So
yeah. So when you bring him back, I assume you bench Dunn or do you bench Collins?
Collins.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I see both sides.
Dunn needs to start.
Yeah, I see both arguments because I think you're going to get that scoring ability with Collins and like, but also I don't know if he fits with the starters the same way that Dunn.
Or you just bench DJ. Like that's fine. I think our starting lineup.
I was saying that at the beginning of the year.
This is the starting lineup I wanted to start the year.
Yeah.
I wanted Harden, Dunn, Kawhi, Collins, and Zoo. And
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was saying the same thing. It's just I felt like they were really reluctant to bench DJ.
Yeah, but now he's been out and we got a win. So
yeah,
let's see.
And he's had his ups and downs too.
Yeah, he has. He has.
Yeah. Well, as we're sort of reaching the end, do you have any kind of New Year's resolutions, I guess, for the Clippers? Or
I don't know. I will be really shocked if cutting Chris Paul as the toxic person he is in the locker room, or if that's what it turns out to be. I'll be shocked if that's what changes things for the Clippers, but I'll also be really excited because we just won a game.
Yeah.
And if that's the move that it takes to win games, then I guess let's keep winning games.
It could be. Yeah.
There's a lot of emotions involved with Chris Paul getting cut or waived or parting ways with the team, obviously. I grew up as a Lob City fan. I mean, that's how I got into the Clippers. So I think it's kind of messed up that we're not giving him his retirement farewell tour. I think it's disrespecting him a little bit. And regardless of how many games we win this season, I'll always look back at the front office and say, could we have handled this a little bit differently? But the focus has to change to this year's team. And if he really was the problem, then they made the right move.
Yeah, and we'll see how players respond to that too. I mean, it sounds like he wasn't getting the best rapport in the locker room, but you never know if other guys will resent that because it is sort of disrespectful to end a guy's career kind of abruptly. He might have just played his last ever game.
It doesn't seem like he's going to sign with any more teams, and he's not good enough to really play heavy NBA minutes for anyone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very strange, but, I'm glad that we talked about it because I think it is important. But that's just going to about wrap things up. Clippers have a tough schedule coming up in the West, but we'll see if they can handle it. They're, again, 10 games under 500, but they're very much in contention for play-in spot, but there's so much season left. But thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Unclipped, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Cool. This button's like, there we go.
Sorry, I was tripping over my words.